Okay, that's Femi Solajat. They're talking about the programs for the year and also the fact that they will be introducing the first all-female chess championship. That he believes is going to boost it. Another thing is the prize money, of course, for the International Chess Open Championship has been increased from 4,000 to 1 million. So you have more other athletes, national athletes.
4,000?
For 400,000. Sorry. Let's say 4,000.
Yeah, you said 4,000. I was like, that's a big leap. 4,000 now to 1 million.
To 1 million. So you just want all the international athletes to actually participate in this one. I mean, it's going to bring in more athletes, and the fact that you have very few female actually participating. So by the time they have all female, definitely with that, more players definitely want to come in and also get it. But I think prize money is definitely one of the big things for it. When you know the money you're going to get is not much, you won't just want to put in your best and go play. But if you know the money is there, definitely
something
just want to go.
Die for,
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's different.
But we're not dying yet on the show.
Shola just joins us now on the show. We'll be talking grassroots sport development this morning. Good to have you.
Good. It's always a pleasure to be here. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for coming. Now, grassroots sport development. We just had this news coming from Kwara State that they are having their first, table tennis junior championships. 175 players, attending and all that from 16 local governments. That's a step.
That's a massive step. If you go back to a few months ago at the National Stadium during the Lagos International Classics, we saw a young 13-year-old player from Ekiti, Ayobami, and 3 months after, he's representing Nigeria in China, in Egypt and places like that. Now the ITTF have placed him on a program, and if he didn't come through the grassroots, there's no way we'll be talking about. In a few years' time, everybody will be talking about Ayobami. I'm happy I have a picture of him as a 13-year-old. I'll probably be able to come out and say we spotted this guy early on. And this is what we're talking about when it comes to grassroots sports. We need to fix the foundation. Everybody is looking for the finished product. Everybody wants to see a house standing, but you hear about houses collapsing from time to time because why? Most times the foundations are faulty. At times the building materials are wrong. They're not good enough. So these are the things that we need to start looking at when we're talking about grassroots sports development. We need to go back to the basics and fix the foundation.
All right. So let me ask him this. If you're not an administrator, people will tell you that if you're not an administrator, it's not easy to do anything. So I'm going to put that to you because the last time I checked, you're not, you don't belong to any of this federation. But if you're not, what can be done?
Now, this is what I've done. As a journalist, I've started getting involved at the grassroots level. I'm involved with rugby at the grassroots level and even at the national level. Okay. I'm involved with football at the grassroots level and at the national level. A very good example is what Channels TV has done with the Channels Kids Cup. I know I got involved at some point and I am involved. And you look at what Channels has done in the few years' time. When it started like a joke, like a dream. It started as a Lagos tournament. Less than 2-3 years after, it became a national tournament. And as at the last time I checked, the NFF are saying that they are getting involved fully. They have adopted Channels Kids Cup
might even be
as a
spreading to
project
the other
of
West
theirs.
African countries.
You're saying African countries? In a few years' time, the Channels Kids Cup will be an international tournament.
Fantastic.
People will be coming from outside Africa to come and play. And it started somewhere in Maryland a few years ago. And that's why we're saying that if you do not take initiative now, apart from it being a tournament where people can be discovered, players and talents can be discovered, it is also an avenue, for us to push it out to the world to say, what is the corporate world doing? What are the other people doing? You asked about being an administrator, but from where you're standing, you can do something. One of the biggest problems that grassroots sports has now is also the media. The media is not doing enough. You need to go back. Everybody wants to talk about international football, But if these guys didn't go back and rework and rejig the system, hey, you won't even get to talk about it. So we need to talk about the media. The government needs to start taking football and sports as business. The Formula One, each team spends a minimum of $100 million every race weekend. Multiply that by the number of teams on the circuit, then you get to see how big business it is. So what we're saying is that there's so much money to be made. When you package very well, you get a player from the grassroots and you get to sell him abroad, brother, you'll be talking some cool money right there, which you can use to redevelop the game, plow back. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Let's still talk about the Channels National Kids Cup. I like the fact that you also raised that up as one of the ways that grassroots sports can be developed. What other things can we really do, to make it a whole lot bigger than it is at the moment?
What we should be looking at is actually a sports tournament. Now, I know that there was talk of athletics championship. Channels is planning something like that. I hope they can really bring it up. But what we need now is to break it down and take the tournament to the people.
Okay.
What we need to do is to create leagues, mini leagues, tiny leagues for boxing, for swimming, for tennis,
traditional sports,
all the sports. Then we take it to the streets. Imagine if we bring 4 table tennis boards to somewhere in Okokomaiko, and we say to them, it's an open tournament, come and play. From there, we'll be able to spot the talents, because some of them don't even have what it takes to get to the stadium. Where is the nearest stadium for the people living in that axis? None. So which leads me to the next thing, facilities. We need to start taking a look at facilities. I was at Roe Park in Yaba on Friday, and I looked at the kids there. They were all getting involved in basketball, in table tennis. I saw some playing on a board, on a door that was bad. And I said to them, go into the camp, into the hall. There's a table there. They said, we just want to try this one first. And everything. And that's one thing. So let us now take it to them. Let's build row parks all over Nigeria. Let's build in Benin. How many do they have? How many stadiums do they have in Warri? How accessible are these stadiums and how up to date are our facilities? We don't need state of the art yet, but we need basic stuff that people can do. So we must do something about facilities.
I think Lagos did something close to that one time, maybe in every local government.
I don't know. What they did at some point was to look at certain areas where football is being played, and they went to upgrade the facilities. Under the bridge, if you're driving to Ikoyi, you will notice it. If you're at Akongo, you will see it. They had basketball courts somewhere in Oworonshoke, and they've done that in different parts. That's a start. What we need is to spread that more and have community centers where people can go and play tennis. Yesterday, the Nigerian tennis team, junior tennis team, left for a tournament, an African junior tournament. Nobody's talking about them. One of them is already in Tunisia, there on the ITTF's bill. It's going to be there for about a year on scholarship. Nobody's talking about it. So, but what we need to do now is to create more awareness, but we must work on facilities, very importantly.
Now, okay, let me just take you up on this one. We talk about, every year how the need for governments to really get involved in some of these things we're talking about, but you look at the policies of government most times, and how do you find anything talking about sports? This year again, it's like the same old story. What are we really doing? I mean, if you don't have a concrete policy for sports, some of these things will just be a mere talk shop.
I want to draw a parallel with Nollywood, and what exactly did the government do for Nollywood? Okay, nothing. That's the truth. But now government is proud of Nollywood. We keep talking about how it's having the largest economy in Africa, rebasing and everything, and Nollywood is the biggest or second biggest in the world, depending on the number of movies that they turn out. And everybody wants to, banks are giving Nollywood guys money to make their movies now. But these guys invested in themselves. I've been part of productions where only one camera would shoot an entire movie. You understand? In your studio here, you have about 4 or 5. So, but what did you do for nothing? So, what I'm saying is, what are you doing where you're standing? I for one, I like the question Yemi asked me. I'd like to get involved in organizing stuff. As we speak now, I'm putting together a 5-a-side tournament, which is pan-Nigeria. Hey, and people are coming into it. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need to do. Wherever you're standing with female football, you were talking to Dili Chukwuemeka, fantastic lady. She's doing very well with the league. Those are the kind of things that we need to start talking about. How we can help female football, female sports, and basically everybody must get involved.
Yeah, that's what it takes. Now, you talked about government experts, and you talked about individual and all that. Now, I'm looking at schools, because if you check the US, I will always use US as a base, because check, most of the athletes that are doing so well started from school. Now, what happened to school? Because once you get that mini leagues and all that you talked about in different communities and all, what if we also have that same system in school and inculcate in a way that you're not having different schools, all of them coming together regularly to actually have a tournament?
We already had that, but we let it die. Remember the inter-house sports that we had within the schools, then we started going for inter-school tournaments and stuff like that. So what we need to do, like you said, is to take it back to the schools. I went to a school that had a pitch that was good enough for a Premier League team like ACB to come and train in. today, if you go to that place in Eric Moore, it's a sorry sight. You know, so facilities, we must build up facilities. We must allow people to harness and bring out talent, and we must take it to the people.
All right, fantastic one. So thank you so much, Shola Rogers, for spending time with us on the show. We really
Thanks for
appreciate
having me.
Yeah. All right. So there you have it. So we need to do all that we can to bring grassroots sports development, to the level we all want it to be. All right, Still Sports This Morning. The show continues, and perhaps we'll go on this other break, right, guys? Let's do that, and when we come back, the show definitely will continue. Enjoy this one. It's talking about Louis van Gaal in this press conference. What does he have to say about his team, Manchester United? Well, check this out, and we'll be right back.